Hi, I'm Allie and I'm the senior artist for Sephora Manhattan Beach, and today's look is inspired by going to a wedding. So it seems like everybody I know is either married or getting married, so this look is something I have been rocking a lot lately. I just recently went to a wedding in Arizona with my best friend, and this was the go-to look. What I love about this look is it does have some drama and some emphasis on the eye, but it's not too much that it steals the show from the bride. The other great thing about this look is it has a nice little bit of color on the lip, but it's not so much that you're gonna have to touch up throughout the evening, and it's gonna look soft and pretty in your pictures. Other great thing, this makeup look will stand up against some heat. I put it to the test in Arizona and things were pretty great. So let's get started. So the first step of any good makeup routine is good skincare. So I'm gonna start with the Dr. Dennis Gross Alpha Beta Peel Pads. I'm starting with the extra gentle ones because I have more sensitive skin and I don't wanna create any additional redness in my face. So I'm just taking the step one of the peel pad and I'm just gonna start by wiping this all over my skin. And I like to do it a couple times. So I really like to start by focusing on any areas where I have a little bit more texture. For me, that's usually around my nose and my chin. And I'm just gonna kind of work the pad around in little circular motions. And I'm gonna do it just a couple times until the pad feels dry. I even like to use it on my neck too. And then I'm gonna move on to step number 2. So this step just helps to kind of neutralize any of like the acids on your skin that we're peeling, and it just helps to calm everything down. You want to use this the same way, putting it all over your skin until the peel pad feels dry, and then you're going to just throw it away and get ready for your next step. So this next step is my favorite. It is using a moisturizer. I feel like that's like super key to any good makeup look. I'm using the Belief Aqua Bomb. A really great trick too is I like to scoop any moisturizer out with a brush. I like to do this because I'm really acne prone, and sometimes dipping my fingers back in the product, if I do that again and again and again, it can kind of lead to putting bacteria in the jar and ends up breaking my skin out later. I'm gonna move on to really priming and getting my skin ready for the makeup. This is the Sephora Beauty Amplifier and the Afterglow Primer and Luminizer. So color correcting is all the rage. So one of my new favorites is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Color Correcting Fluid, and I'm using it in the color yellow. So I have a lot of post-acne marks and little spots where you might see a little like redness or they almost look a little bit purple. This yellow really helps to correct that and kind of gets rid of any purpleness or redness that tends to poke through my makeup. I'm also using the number 57 Pro Airbrush Concealer Brush, and I'm just using it, and I'm just kind of using it in a patting motion just to make sure I'm building coverage on any areas. And around my nose, I'm doing more of a sweeping because I just have more redness to cover and conceal. And then on those little blemish marks, I'm doing more of a patting just to really make sure I'm building coverage and kind of blurring those out. Moving into foundation, I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Stick, and I'm using the color R230. So I'm just going to take my number 56 Pro Flawless Foundation Brush from Sephora collection. This is one of my absolute favorite tools. So I'm just taking a couple little taps off the actual stick, and I'm just going to start from the center of my face and work out. I like to start in the center because that's really where I like to have the most coverage. My cheeks are pretty good, and my forehead really doesn't have a lot I feel like I need covered, but I do want a little bit extra and additional coverage through the center of my face. So I'm just gonna tap on the brush, and then I'm just gonna start by working in light sweeping motions outwards towards the outer perimeter of my face. And going back to that tapping motion, any place I want a little extra coverage, I'm just doing that kind of tapping and stippling motion to build. So where I put a little bit of that yellow corrector to cover up any post-acne marks, that's where I'm gonna use a little bit more of that patting motion so I know that those areas are really covered. And with whatever's left over in my brush, I'm just gonna blend down through my neck. That's a great tip, especially if you're going to a wedding and you're wearing a dress that's a little bit lower cut, or if you have your décolleté showing, it's great because it just gives that consistent color all over. I am obsessed with eyebrows, so I just kind of lift my brows with a spoolie and just make sure that I'm kind of seeing the natural shape. I'm taking our Sephora collection retractable brow pencil, and I'm using the color neutral gray brown. It's a little bit ashier and still kind of light because I don't have I have darker brows and I want them to look soft and I want them to look natural. And with this brow pencil, I just like to kind of start by like naturally adding a little definition. So I'm just taking the pencil and I'm starting towards the end of my brow and I'm just starting to kind of build in a little bit of fullness. I like to start by just working in little strokes towards the edge. And I like to make sure I slide my hand really far down towards the end of the pencil so I get a really, really light touch. I'm gonna go back in now with the Anastasia brow powder, and I'm using my Pro Brow number 20 brush, and I really like to now kind of add that fullness. So with the pencil, I kind of created that outline and the shape, and I added a little additional texture, but now I really wanna make my brows look fluffy and full. So I'm starting with the darker shade, and I'm gonna again start towards the end of my brow where I wanna build a little bit more fullness. And the way I like to do this is I really like to lay my brush almost kind of flat against my brow, and I just like to lift up. So I'm just kind of washing the powder up through the front of my brows. And once I put the powder in, that's really when I see a huge difference in the fullness of my brow. So if you're looking for fullness or thickness or to add that kind of fluffy feel, definitely need a brow powder. All right, next up, I'm gonna take the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel, and this is probably my favorite step of my brow routine because this is really what makes them look full and luscious and wonderful. I just like to take this and I like to start by combing my brows straight up again just to give them that kind of natural shape. And once I've combed them up, I'll just take the spoolie and I'll just kind of lightly use the tip of the spoolie just to soften any edges that maybe look a little crazy or maybe look like a little werewolfy. I just like to smooth them down so that they look groomed and lifted, but still look soft and not like all my brow hairs sticking straight up. So now moving on to eyes, one of my probably my favorite step of makeup routine in general. I love eye makeup. I'm just gonna take a little bit of Too Faced 24-Hour Shadow Insurance, and I'm just taking about a teardrop size amount onto my ring finger, and I'm gonna start by putting this all over my lid. So clear from my inner corner of my eye up to my brow bone. So another great tip is I like to use the primer on my lower lash line as well. I really struggle to keep eye makeup on down there and product tends to run a lot on me down there. So this is great at really making sure any eyeliner, any shadow I put down there is locked on. And since we're going to a wedding, I need this makeup to stay on all day and maybe all night. So this is just gonna keep it completely in place. All right, so moving into our eye look, I'm gonna be using the Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar Palette to do this look. I'm gonna take Nougat, which is this kind of soft pink color, and I'm just gonna use the number 19 Pro Tapered Crease Brush. I'm using this one because it has kind of a point to it, and it's just gonna lightly add color right where I want it to go. And I'm just starting in my outer corner of my eye, and I'm using a really soft touch to give kind of a whisper of color up above my crease. Next, I'm gonna take the color called Hot Fudge, and I'm taking my Pro Shader number 18 brush. This is one of my absolute favorite tools because it's so petite and small. You can use it for any details or any kind of fine tuning that you're doing on the eye. So I'm just taking this in the color Hot Fudge, and I'm just kind of creating a small little line. This helps me kind of color in the lines in a sense so that I don't get a really heavy blown out smoky eye. I want to make sure that the eye looks really soft and really kind of romantic. And so this is just helping me place the product in just the right spot. So I'm just taking this brush, and with my eye open, I'm just kind of following if my natural lash line continued on where it would go. And I'm just placing the line and then kind of pulling the product inward. And I like to do that so that, again, it doesn't become like a really heavy, blown out smoky eye. It keeps the color right in place, and it just starts to take a nice kind of cat eye shape. So now that I've placed that color, I'm just gonna use a blending brush, and I'm using Pro Tapered Crease number 19 again, and I'm just kind of softening any edges from that darker shadow. Any place I feel like I need to blend or soften any rough spots, I'm just taking it and just kind of making sure all those colors look really, really smooth and even. So next I'm gonna take Marc Jacobs Highliner Gel Pencil, and I'm taking it in the shade Blacker. I love this pencil because eyeliner is one of the things that tends to move and smudge around on me throughout the day, and this one really stays in place. So I'm just starting by kind of tight lining my lower lashes, and I'm also gonna kind of wiggle this pencil up in my actual eyelashes. So this is super important, especially because I am gonna be applying false lashes, and this just really helps to kind of add a little extra definition around my eyelashes. And it also is a great tip because if you take any photos, and since you're going to a wedding, you will be taking pictures, it makes sure that there's no weird gaps or weird skin poking through underneath the eyelashes. So I just like to look down, and I just like to wiggle the pencil up in my root of my lashes. So next I'm gonna use the Dior Show Maximizer, and this is a lash plumping serum. This stuff is amazing because it helps your lashes to grow, and it also helps them to look really amazing when you put mascara on. And they actually just redid this formula, and I'm crazy about it. It is amazing. So next I'm gonna use Dior Show Mascara because I want really thick, fluffy lashes, and I'm gonna do a little eyeshadow on the lower lashes. So I'm just taking that number 18 brush, and I'm taking the shade called Puddin', and I'm just kind of smudging this underneath my lash line just to give that kind of sexy, smoldering sort of look to the eye. I love to do this because it makes it just look a little bit smokier and a little bit more worn in without making the whole eye look really, really dark. So I'm just taking that brush and I'm going right underneath my lashes, and I'm just gonna kind of work back and forth until my eyes look smoky. All right, so next I'm taking one of my all-time favorite Holy Grail products. This is Kat Von D's Tattoo Liner in Trooper. So I'm just taking my Beauty Blender and I'm just holding the outer corner of my eye. This is just helping me to hold that skin kind of taut, so it's easier for me to draw the wing. And again, I'm not creating any smudges or fingerprints on the face. And I'm just taking Kat Von D's Tattoo Liner and I'm drawing straight across my lashes, and then I'm just giving kind of a soft flick at the end of the eye. So after that, I'm just gonna kind of connect the line from the lower lashes, and then I just like to kind of color in any areas that I feel like need a little extra attention. So I really like to make sure I line the inner corners of my eye just to make sure that everything looks really even and really, really saturated. And this is especially important since we're gonna be applying lashes. It just makes everything look really, really even when we put them on. All right, so now I'm gonna add some color back into my skin using Makeup Forever's HD Blush in shade 210. And I'm gonna take a beauty blender, and using the back end of the sponge, I'm just gonna kind of move my sponge in the cream blush, and I'm just gonna start to tap and build the intensity of the blush. The reason I'm using a cream is I really love the way that it mimics the way skin looks, and it wears really, really well throughout the day. So if you're going someplace hot, humid, it's a little steamy for this wedding, it's really gonna stay on throughout the whole day, and it's gonna really look like you have a nice natural flush of color. And I'm now gonna take the Makeup Forever Aqua Lip Pencil in number 22C, and I'm just gonna start to line my lip. So another good tip is I love full, voluptuous, luscious lips, and I don't totally have them unless I line my lips. So I'm really gonna start by just putting the pencil in the outer corner of my lips and really lifting up. And that's a great tip if you feel like you have small lips, because it creates a lot of fullness and plumpness in your pout. So I'm just gonna start to line the whole lip. And I also like to fill in the lip a little bit. And another good tip is taking your fingertip and pressing the lip liner into your skin. This is great because it also helps the lip liner stay on throughout the day. So next I'm gonna use an Urban Decay lipstick in the shade called Native. This is just kind of a soft pink, and I just like this color because it just adds a little flush to my lips. It's not totally nude because I do wanna look like I have lip color on in any pictures I take. So now I'm taking Makeup Forever Plexi Gloss in shade 202. And like I said, I love big, pouty, full, juicy lips. So I'm just taking this gloss, and I'm really only gonna put this in the center of my lip. This is a great trick if you want to make your lips look fuller and plumper. It's just going to add a little extra volume in the center of your lip and really pull it forward. And the next step is going to be one of my favorites. It's false lashes. So we're adding a little bit more drama to this look. Applying the false lashes by Sephora collection. These are the Luxe False Lashes in Plume, and I am obsessed with these. They're super light, they're really, really pretty and feathery, and they really look like natural lashes. They're also super comfortable. So I love these because if I'm wearing them all day long, they don't feel like they're heavy or poking me in the eyes. They're really, really lightweight and comfortable. So I'm just starting by placing the lashes straight on my eye just to see where they're sitting and if they're a little bit long. I'm just trimming them from the outer corner, and you always want to trim from the outside because if we cut off any of those little pieces on the inner corner, it can get a little uncomfortable and stop looking as natural. So I'm just trimming them from the outside. And while you're trimming them, it's good to put them back on just to see if you've trimmed enough or not too much. I've definitely chopped off a little bit too much of lashes before, so it's okay to take that extra couple seconds just to measure them one more time and trim them if you need to. All right, so now that I've measured my lashes, I'm gonna apply them using Duo's latex-free glue. This glue is amazing. I have really, really sensitive eyes, and so anything with latex really tends to make my eyes kind of irritated and uncomfortable. So I'm just painting it on, and I like to make sure I give a little extra glue on the outer corners because that's where they tend to lift. And while it's getting a little sticky and a little tacky, I'm just wiggling the lashes back and forth to loosen the band so they really want to shape towards my eye. So now that they're loose, I've just lifted them up and I've just kind of placed them right on the center of my eye. And I'm just gonna start to wiggle the outer corners. So now that I've placed them in the middle, I'm just gonna press down on the inner corner and the outer corner just to make sure they all feel really secure. You can use the back of a brush to do this step, but I like to use my fingers because it's a little easier for me and I can feel exactly where they need to be a little bit more secured. So now that my lashes are on, I'm just gonna take a little bit more of that Dior Show mascara that we used earlier, and I'm just gonna do a really light sweep of mascara over my lashes just to bond the false lashes with my natural ones. And I really think less is more in this step because if you start to over apply, it can start to look really heavy. And to lock it in place, I'm just taking a spray of Makeup Forever's Mist and Fix. If you feel like you struggle with keeping your makeup on, it is amazing because it really just sets everything in place and things will not budge or move or fade. For the final step, no look is complete without some great hair. This is one of my absolute favorite products because big hair is what makes me feel ready to go out and ready to go to any sort of event. So I'm just taking a little bit of Dry Bar's Triple Sec, and I really just like to spray it in the roots and in the crown of my hair, and I just like to kind of fluff it with my fingertips just to get a really full, luscious, bombshell kind of look to my hair. And not only does this work super well, but your hair is going to smell amazing. Everyone is going to want to hang out with you at this reception because your hair smells so nice. So thanks for watching this video. This is the completed wedding guest look. I hope that you love it and rock it at all the weddings that you attend this next couple months in wedding season. And if you have any other questions or videos you'd like to see, please leave it in comments below. But we will see you next time on the Sephora channel. Please subscribe and we will see you soon.